Hey, it's Brad Bessie with the Plugged In Parent Cheat Sheet. This week we are talking about teens and news, and what a better way than to talk to Gabe Fleisher, who is the editor of Wake Up to Politics, a daily newsletter, and the Wake Up to Politics podcast. By the way, he's 18 years old. He's an incredible young man. I just talked to him a few weeks ago, and here is our interview right now. So we are now talking with Gabe Fleisher, who does the daily newsletter, Wake Up to Politics.
Hi, Brad.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You're 18 years old. The reason I'm interested in you is that you have this really phenomenal journalism background, and you do a daily newsletter called Wake Up to Politics. Tell us about that.
Sure, yeah. So I first really got interested in politics during the 2008 presidential election, and I just got fascinated with really presidential kind of history and politics, and started reading as much as I could. And I first started kind of writing about politics in 2011. I was 9 years old, and I started the newsletter just as an email to my mom. She was my first subscriber, and I started writing it every day and just kind of talking about what I was reading in the news, and she started forwarding it to friends and family, and then it got a little bit of media attention. And so it's almost 10 years later, I'm still writing it, about 50,000 subscribers in all 50 states and all around the world. Pretty much it sends each weekday morning, and I just try to give a kind of briefing on what's going on, try to keep it, as concise as possible, but also not dumbing anything down and trying to stay comprehensive and really giving people kind of a full picture of what's going on in politics that day.
And you do that from the Wake Up to Politics headquarters.
That's right here in St. Louis in my home.
Oh, it used to be in your bedroom. Did you expand?
I'm not in my bedroom right now, but I write the newsletter from my bedroom.
Okay, great. And how long does it take you to do it? Because it's very thorough. So what's your schedule before you go to school?
Sure, yeah. So I write the newsletter. I wake up at about 5:55. Each morning, and I write the newsletter. It takes about an hour and a half, so I try to have it sent out by around 7:30, but before I'm off to school. I do a little bit of, kind of prepping for the newsletter the night before, and try to have like an outline of what I want to write about the next day, but writing takes place kind of in an hour and a half period before I go to school in the mornings.
So tell me how COVID-19 has changed the shape of your work here.
For sure, yeah. The newsletters wake up to politics, so definitely the focus is always going to be politics. There's definitely stories that are often very important in the news that don't always get as much coverage in my newsletter, because I'm really looking at stories as much as they pertain to kind of what's going on in the White House, in Congress, in the courts, with elections. Those are kind of the main categories that I focus on. But I guess this is just a unique story where that it is affecting all of those things. And it's the only thing really that any of those institutions are focused on or that matters right now. So it's really in that way such a unique story, because there's no other situation in my time as a journalist that has been like that. So I really do, for the past few weeks, it really has been the only thing that, or certainly the main thing that the newsletter is focused on. And I'm just trying to give my readers, I think there's a lot of different reports flying around right now. There's some misinformation flying around. So I try to give my readers this is what the governmental response to COVID-19 is. This is, I include the latest statistics, the latest, stay-at-home orders, the latest, pieces of legislation that are being passed, and just try to give people kind of a, like you said, kind of objective, just view of what's happening, what the latest developments are each day, because obviously this is just such an important story and important thing that's happening all around the world right now.
You've got a lot of media attention. How is that? How are you processing that?
Yeah, it can be certainly kind of overwhelming at times. Like I said, I started this newsletter just, kind of writing it to my mom, and now suddenly to have tens of thousands of people, all over the world reading it and, have different stories about me. It can be overwhelming at times, but what I like to tell people is, as much as this is a big part of my life and it's something I'm obviously really passionate about, and politics, journalism is very important to me, and politics obviously a passion of mine. But I'm still, I like to think a pretty normal kid. I still go to school every day. I still have my friends and spend a lot of time with them. So as exciting, and they are very happy for me when stuff like that happens. But something like breaking Bill de Blasio's campaign isn't as exciting to, my friends in high school. And so it's nice. I go to school and, it's not the number one thing that people know about me, and it's not, what I talk about. So it's just kind of, it's something that I do at home in the mornings, but beyond that, it's just another part of my life.
The other thing that I noticed is that a lot of famous journalists follow you, probably because they're getting news tips, right? What have been your coolest sort of journalist interaction so far?
Yeah, I'm really honored that a lot of high-profile journalists that I read and that I'm a big fan of subscribe to the newsletter. Katie Tur of MSNBC is a subscriber. Jim Vandehei, the founder of Politico and Axios. Major Garrett, who's the chief White House correspondent at CBS News. There's a lot of really high-profile journalists. Mike Allen of Axios. A lot of cool journalists that I'm really honored that they read the newsletter.
Have any of them reached out to you to say, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing"?
Sometimes it's Katie Tur did tweet a little while back that she reads the newsletter every morning. It's cool. John Harris, who's the founder of Politico, just recently tweeted that he's a big fan, and so it's always cool to hear feedback like that, and to know that there's people in Washington and New York City that even while I'm here in St. Louis that are reading the newsletter. And Fred Ryan, who's the CEO of the Washington Post, he wrote me about a year ago and said that he reads the news every morning, and that was pretty remarkable because he's the CEO of the Washington Post and the publisher of the Post. He has his own newspaper, but politics, that was pretty remarkable to me.
I think when it comes time for getting an internship, I think that you're going to have a lot of opportunities.
I hope so.
I think so. Okay, before we go our separate ways, I'm really doing this newsletter, my newsletter, to really keep parents plugged in with their kids. So here you are, you're 18 years old. What do you think that parents need to know most about their kids right now in going through this time?
That's weird. It's kind of uncertain how these next few months are going to be. What school's going to look like. You're not with your friends. That's pretty weird. Just kind of being at home. So I think it's just like it is for everyone right now. There's just a lot of questions and not a lot of answers, and a lot of just left kind of not sure what our life is going to be like for a little while. So it's overwhelming. I think there's no question. So I think I think a lot of parents and teachers are, but I hope are giving kind of kids the space to kind of process that, and not piling on homework or activities when just sometimes you just need to sit down and really just like think and talk, because there's a lot to think and talk about.
Yeah, that's actually good advice. I think it's good advice that I'll take for myself with my 12-year-old. Okay, well, I will let you go about your day. I appreciate you making the time. Oh. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think is important during this time that people know about you or about life in general?
I guess the only thing is if people do want to subscribe to the newsletter, it's at wakeuptopolitics.com. And obviously it's, there's a lot of difficult news right now, and it's a kind of difficult time to be a journalist, but I think there's no more important time to be informed and to keep, supporting journalism and to be reading it. So I hope people do subscribe to my newsletter and to a lot of other news outlets that do need help in this time.
Thanks for making the time. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
That was Gabe Fleisher, an incredible young man with an incredible future. Now, if you want to keep up to speed on all the things your kids are plugged into, subscribe to the Plugged In Parent Cheat Sheet. Just click the button right there, and I'll hook you up with my weekly insights into what they're talking about. Talk to you soon.